because of the fact that my stream going over the Rin call that was held in the Cat's Lair, as it's titled, is almost 7 fucking hours, and I understand that some of you prefer shorter, not nearly as long as that content, and others prefer to just listen to the stream as background noise. And considering the misinformation and the outright lies that are in it, because of all of that, I thought, why not make a shorter video going over the main issues, at least, with the call, so the stream can go over pretty much almost all of it in its entirety. And this video will be the highlights, the main problems with it. All of this starts on May 13th, with Lio DMing someone on Discord named Haratatui. Yo, hi. Question, are you still in contact with Rin? Yes. I mean, we don't talk regularly, but they sometimes message me and we chat a little. Would you be opposed to passing them a message? Nothing mean. Sure, I can do that. Yun is requesting a call in Cat's Lair. There will be no yelling, no threats, nothing. They want a civil discussion. They're not online at the moment, and I'm not sure if a call is possible due to their circumstances, but I'll let you know once I get a response. Danky. Ren wants to know why they want to call. To clear some things up, issue apologies, etc. Haratatui sends a screenshot of Ren responding, and then says Ren seems to be up to it. Only on an alt, possibly with me and or Nero present, but may be willing to budge if that's not acceptable, and they need to find a time where they'd be safe to do so. Evenings are the best, the alt is fine. Afternoons or weekends works too. Another screenshot is shared. Lol, I'll guess we wait then. Yeah, it's gonna be a while. Unfortunate home life. By the way, just adding that whenever the call happens, Ren wants me and Nero or just one. They seem very anxious and hesitant to go in without someone on their side per se. The call will just be them and Yun, to be clear. Don't imagine we'll be talking much, it's more precaution. I'll be honest, one of our main concerns is Ren is getting heated. Yeah, I don't mind not speaking. Ren will have to control themselves, honestly. Me and Neuro are working on that, mostly amping them up for it. Obviously, we can't control them, and what they do is what they do. They're planning on what to ask/talk about, and we're trying to guide it to be less accusatory/defensive and keep it on topic so the conversation is productive. Update, there was another smaller incident with Ren's family, and they're understandably concerned about the security home-wise of having a call. They'd prefer a text chat. I'm not sure if a call is completely off the table at the moment, but obviously, there's a big concern about their family finding out or overhearing a call. Now, this call was eventually agreed to, and it was held on May 16th, so 3 days after these DMs. As you all saw, Lio established that this call was going to just be about Yun and Rin, that there would be no threats. He mentioned nothing of the FCK, himself, or that it would even be in the gallery chat. He made it very clear that it was just going to be Rin and Yun. Yet after Rin and Yun have given each other their apologies, answered one another's questions, and Yun leaves, Lio decides to insert himself into the call to air out his problems with Rin.
But having this conversation and clearing the air, I started this conversation really anxious, like I was shaking. But now I'm much calmer and I feel a lot lighter, and I feel like this is the conversation we should have had in 2022. This is the conversation we were meant to have. And I wish we had it then, but I'm glad we had it, period. So I thank you for doing that. I thank you for being open to talking to me.
Same for you. Is there
Alright, so are you two done?
Yeah.
Are you talking, Lio? Because I...
Yeah. Alright, so are you two done with this?
Yes.
Okay. So, Yoon, if you want to disappear into the ether or go to the rest of the audience, you're welcome to, because I need to speak to Red now.
Already contradicting himself from 3 days prior. But let's see what his totally very serious, very important problems with Rin are.
Alright, so, Rin, I will apologize for using your old username because I had forgotten it was a dead name. That I will apologize for. However, you and I have some other issues. If you're worried about me yelling, I'm in the middle of McDonald's and a Walmart, so I'm not going to. I will, however, be stern with you because I have given you no shortage of patience. Firstly, I got you, or tried to, get you off the internet for a year for your own good. because you were not acting right. You did not do that. You found ways to get back on Discord. You still operated your Tumblr and had conversations with Autumn Kohai that, yes, I did find out about. You also continued to obsess and engage in a community that you claimed you were scared of. And every time I told you, find something else to do.
This is something that Lio pushes throughout the call multiple times, and many of the others have insistently pushed and yet contradicted at every fucking turn. This idea that because Rin was behind the FCK leaks, they were the one running the FCK leaks account, that they were active in the community they were ran out of, that they weren't supposed to come back into. Which doesn't make any sense because the SCC continuously says that they're not art commentary related, that they have nothing to do with the art commentary community. Doodles said in the call with Laka that they have no association with the art commentary community, that the SEC and the ArtCC are two different things, and I'm conflating them.
Sorry.
As well as people, I think it was Akumu was trying to say it was a part of the ArtCC, which, no.
In the past, you were a part of the community, but that, like, you left in, like, what, 2018?
No. I was never part of the ArtCC.
Were you part of the regular one, though? Because, like, you're
I was part of the SCC.
Yes, the regular one. That
slideshow community.
Right.
Yes, that one.
No.
I think that this goal, unless anyone needs me, is done because I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all out. we're done for today.
Well, no, real quick. The CC and the SCC are two very different areas.
Okay.
Yeah, the SCC is a much more niche. The SCC is a much more niche community that focuses on like video critiques and stuff like that. We're all just a bunch of nerds that talk about our, I guess, our special interests.
Yep.
Yeah. So, because
that's kind of the long and short of it.
Part of the ArtCC, and that was just incorrect. I've never once associated myself in the ArtCC.
Yeah. I have also never associated with the ArtCC, and I've made videos about it, but Akumu still associates me as part of that community, so shrug.
It could just be because of your associations. I think that's probably why. Because, like some people, like, we all talk to someone in the ArtCC, so I think that might be why.
Yeah,
I've made videos clarifying that I'm not the...
Fair enough. I don't really know how to talk about that subject because it's like that's such a weird thing to argue at all because it's just like it's like it's okay.
Well, it shows that he has complete disregard as to who it is he's even talking about.
Such a pedantic fucking bitch complaint. But since they're so different, why is it Rin being behind the FCK Leaks account is active in a community they said they weren't going to be a part of? Because apparently the SCC and the ArtCC aren't the same fucking thing. The FCK was an art commentary group. What this comes down to is the real problem. They wanted Rin off the internet in general, and they don't like the fact that Rin was behind the FCK Leaks account. So they're trying to connect it to, well, you said you weren't going to come back to the SCC community. It's a massive intentional misrepresentation and an attempt to rewrite the events to make it as though Rin didn't keep their word. You came back to the community we chased you out of. It's so fucking retarded.
You did not. So there are some things you and I are going to talk about. In reference to making light of someone's suicide, I do recall, and I do not have them on hand because Twitter's down, and I'm not about to go bug Aaron Tempest to go scrolling through all the green cap. You did decide to take shots in one way or another at Nessie concerning what you would consider a lack of accountability. There's also what you said to Heaton years ago, which, even though it was years ago, is still out of pocket. I warned you multiple times about the people you were around, about what they do, about what they enable. Every time, you ignored me, and you justified it.
Making light of someone's suicide? You're a fucking idiot. That was Gilded that made the joke, and then Ren disavowed it. I don't know how you could possibly conflate Ren disavowing Gilded for doing it as Rin doing it themselves. Never mind the fact that your wording implies Nezzy Monster actually fucking killed herself when she didn't, making light of someone's suicide. The closest you could say to doing anything like that wasn't even by Rin. People just pointed out that it was obvious suicide baiting. Why would you take to fucking Twitter to announce you're gonna kill yourself because people are upset with what you've done when you have no problem accusing other people of suicide baiting? When you have no problem of being behind the mob, upset with someone else. But oh god, if people are upset with what you provably did, you gotta kill yourself. That's ridiculous. It's not making light of it, it's calling it what it is. And Rin never fucking did that either. So Lio's a bit retarded, but that's not really a big shock now, is it? And in regards to this enabling, how exactly has Rin enabled us? What is it we've done that's so bad that you can actually stand atop your moral pedestal for? And how exactly is Rin enabling it? You're going to notice that the internet justice crowd, they have a particular vocabulary. And if you associate with people they don't like, they'll say that you're enabling that behavior. When these people tell someone that they're enabling something, what they're trying to do is make that individual feel guilty for what someone else has done, for simply associating with them. But even with that said, I'll entertain this autism. How exactly has Rin enabled us? Rin can't stop us, just as Doodles can't stop you from lying. Doodles can't make you be honest. Doodles can't stop you doing the LARPy shit while taking yourself seriously. Does that mean Doodle Tones is enabling you? Does that mean Hidden Heroin is enabling you? Does that mean every person in Senate is enabling you? Does that mean Monstrous or Pizza is enabling you? No, because that's fucking retarded. Everything about that is fucking retarded.
You admitted in this call that you took an account that you claimed was made to help the victims of the FCK, and you made it, let's be honest, you made it about me.
This is another thing that they constantly bring up in the call, predominantly Lio. And it's this grandstanding of Rin saying, well, you made the FCK Leaks account about Lio and Peaches, and the victims weren't so happy about it, and Lio wasn't so happy about it. And this is another attempt to rewrite how things played out, to change the history of how all this played out to begin with since February, so that they can then grandstand. The reason Lio was spoken about was because he chose to get himself involved to lie for Peaches. He did so in his Conundrum video that was released the same day as my FCK server video. Then in the February 28th Senate call, he was lying about me and FCK Leaks. So guess what? Me and FCK Leaks started talking about Lio more, because he was lying, and he was lying about Peaches. And because FCK Leaks started talking about Lio more, he didn't like that so much. So then he dug into who it was to reveal that so he could get the SCC crowd rally behind him because they had their own experience with Rin that was entirely irrelevant to the situation. So he could wield that against Rin in hopes that it would distract away from the FCK shit. But what they're doing is leaving out the fact that Lio put himself in the line of fire, essentially, for Peaches. Talking about me and FCK Leaks was obviously going to have me and FCK Leaks talking about you in return. But what they do is they ignore that fact. And they then try and blame us, FCK Leaks and me, Rin and me, because of the fact that they were talked about. It's leaving out what resulted in that to try and blame us for this moral grandstanding of, oh, well, you misused the account. Yes, Rin did get excessive with it. But let's not pretend like you have zero fucking blame in that, considering you started lying about me and Rin. Trying to go at me and Rin because we were airing the shit out on the FCK, and your poor Peaches, that whale of a tail on her own, was being discussed. And then she stabbed you in your back. Who saw that coming?
You made claims about me there. And also, you sent me a text demanding answers about my family. We'll ask you very directly, what in the name of God did you think that was your business?
Lio just said that Rin sent him a text demanding answers in regards to his family. Now, I want you to remember this, because this is going to become very important in just a few minutes.
I have a very personal view of disownment.
I don't care. I asked how it's your business.
It's not.
Then why?
Because I cared for Jordan.
Care. Past tense. That's interesting.
Care. I said care.
You don't care for Jordan. You don't know Jordan. You don't know anything about them. In fact, you didn't even do your due diligence. You ran off to call me an abuser. You used the FCK post to do it. In fact, you also claimed that I should not be trusted with predation cases because of the FTK logs that I did not, number one, have the knowledge of in full, and number two, I didn't have the time to peruse completely through. You made absolute claims because you were mad at me. I want you to at least own.
What? I didn't hear you.
You made claims about me because you were angry at me, and I would like you to at least own that.
I don't want to confess something that I don't feel because I legitimately thought Jordan was abused, and
Nope,
I
don't
still
want to
think
hear it. I want to hear it. Because you don't have evidence, do you?
I
Where's your
can't-
evidence? Where's your evidence?
What? In regards to
Where is your evidence to the claim that I am an abuser?
So in regards to you, and for you being
Raising a voice to somebody is not inherently abuse. If you're going to cite the one time I typed in all caps to you, because quite honestly, you did not want to accept what I was telling you, that is not indication of abuse. Where's your evidence for abuse?
hold on, I'll send it because I was freshly out of the mental hospital.
I'm aware of what you were talking about. That is not indicative of abuse. So I will ask you again, because I do not want to continue going around the rosy here, because it has been 2.5 hours and it is 9:30. I'm going to ask you one more time, where is your evidence that I abused Jordan?
I don't have it.
So you just make claims without evidence now, huh?
So you just make claims without evidence then? Why does that sound so fucking familiar? Oh, perhaps it's because you did the same thing? You accused me of withholding the logs, had no evidence for it to begin with, yet knew I was sharing it to people and knew that Laka was invited. You literally approached Laka because they were invited, and yet still said I was withholding it from everyone. Never mind the fact that you accused me of trying to control the narrative, while you were the one trying to rush your video out to get it out before mine. You have insisted that I've been dishonest, yet you provided no evidence of it.
I mean, Jordan, I still think you hurt him, but also,
Oh, I hurt him. In what way did I hurt him, Rin? Since you know so much about what goes on in my home, tell me.
emotionally,
Oh, emotionally. In what way?
he, in a group chat, I'm trying to recall. He felt like
I want evidence, not claims, Rin. Evidence. Because you've hurt a lot of people too. Should I now call you an abuser?
no, I'm just, you know what?
I don't want you to lock up on me. I want you to sit here because you sat there and you blasted it to an audience you knew was eating it up. I am not Yoon. Yoon has a bigger heart than I do in cases like this. And I have a pretty doggone big one. Not something I actually like to toot my own horn to, but you are talking to somebody who has opened his home to 2 specific individuals who abused that, and another individual who I gave constant attention and support to, and over $8,000, and was horrifically abused over it. I am not in the mood to hear excuses. I want answers. And if you were in the position I am, you'd want them too. I am not yelling at you, and I am not raising my voice, and I'm not going to. But I want answers.
So, I don't have evidence. It was just I I have the account deleted, and so I can't.
I don't care if the account's deleted. You know what was on it. I want to know why you made the assertion without evidence.
I was emotional, and yeah, I was angry.
Why were you angry
I was
with me?
because I care for Jordan.
You don't know Jordan. You don't know dick about Jordan. Were you the one that had Jordan in your home for 2 years?
No,
Were you the one that paid for his food, his lodging? Were you the one that was there for him during his breakdowns, during his panic attacks, during his episodes? Were you there for him when you came home and he was crying on the steps because of a boy? Were you there for that?
no.
No. So how in the name of God do you care for Jordan? Because part of caring for somebody is making very clear to them when they're screwing up. You didn't. You took something. You ran with it. To know the real reason why.
I believed him. So
Why? Because you sat there and you harped on another person who made another claim on the FCK saying you don't want testimony, you want evidence. So why did you not eat evidence with me?
because what happened with you and Jordan was in person, so it's impossible to get evidence unless you record something without someone's consent.
We live in Texas. It's a single party consent state, and Jordan knows that.
Oh,
You ever thought that maybe, just maybe, there wasn't evidence because it didn't freaking happen? And if the tables were turned, you'd be really, really upset. Nobody came to you for their side, did you? You'd be really mad. You didn't. Instead, what I get from you is an asinine text about your personal values on disowning, which has nothing to do with mine, has nothing to do with anything that went on in my home. And frankly, you're not even in a position to say because you don't have kids and you never had to care for anybody.
yeah.
Or do you think that being disrespectful to my wife while her father is dying is somehow acceptable now?
I wasn't. So,
You weren't aware because you didn't ask, Rin.
You weren't aware because you didn't ask, Rin. Oh my god. You started this very subject by complaining that Rin was asking about your family, about shit that wasn't any of their business.
You send me a text demanding answers about my family. We'll ask you very directly, what in the name of God did you think that was their business?
Which is it? Either Rin did ask, and it wasn't any of their fucking business, or they didn't ask. You have to pick one. You can't have both.
Because the truth of the matter is, whether you want to admit it or not, you wanted it to be true. Because I was the guy who made you leave the internet. I was the guy who held you accountable.
Sure, bud. He really fucking loves that word. And he loves to tell himself that he's held people accountable. I don't think there's a day in his life where he doesn't say accountability.
I was the guy who upset your friends that enable your worst of actions.
Hey, I've seen this one.
And I want you to be honest. Own it. Instead of trying to pretend like you did it for somebody else, because you didn't. Because you don't know Jordan. Have you ever paid any of Jordan's bills?
no, I'm not allowed to because my dad controls my finances now because of me being outed.
No. You had several months to do so. Well before you were out. You didn't pay any of Jordan's bills. You didn't do any of that. I want you to be honest. Did you believe this because you wanted to?
When I was first aware of it, no.
Oh, which is why you asked my side, right?
I literally did, actually, because
You
I
did not
asked you what
ask
was
my
going on, and you
side.
told.
You did not ask my side, Rin. I'm going to get the text right now. You will not sit here after you were very open and honest with Yoon and lie to my face. That is not going to happen. and I will not permit that.
Don't you lie to my face while I sit in a call of a bunch of people that I've lied to the faces of. The dissonance takes the cake. Lio, you yourself, just a few minutes ago in this same call, said that Rin came to you demanding answers. Demanding answers means that they're coming to you to get your fucking side, you idiot. They're demanding answers. That is opening the opportunity right there for you to provide your side. Instead, you say, you didn't want my side. You didn't want my side. You came to me for answers, but you didn't want my side.
A lot of talk about Jar, a lot of talk about Rabbit, a lot of concern about whether or not I called you a degenerate. Here is what you said. I saw Kumo's recent video of Jordan. Jordan says you disowned him and wanted your side of the story because Kumo is an unreliable source, but Jordan much is. You didn't actually want my side of the story.
Yes, I did. Stop and say.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And the reason why I don't believe you is because you ran with it, Rin. If I'm telling you I'm not going to discuss family stuff with outsiders, and I say Jordan choosing to be in contact with zoo apologists, they'll forever shut that door.
Why would you say that Rin never fucking asked you for your side? Then read the part of their text message to you where they state that they wanted to get your side because Kumo was an unreliable narrator. And you're saying that you told Rin that you don't talk about family matters to outsiders. So they clearly weren't going to get your side of the story. You were refusing to give your side of the story. Rin did, and you refused to give your side of the story. And then in this call, when Rin says that they did ask your side, you say, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't actually want my side. It's the biggest fucking cope ever, and yet again, an attempt to change how events played out so that he can grandstand, so that he can make Rin look bad in front of everybody.
You know Kumo was in the Fox Mafia. You know he happily sat in a server full of people who had loved having conversations about how dog dick is okay and more.
And in regards to the Fox Mafia thing, Lio loves to do guilty by association. We all fucking know that. It's why he did the shit with, oh, well, you're in a server with someone I don't like, in reference to Gilded Boo. But his main fucking thing that he loves to use guilty by association with is Fox Mafia. So if someone was in Fox Mafia, they're a zoo apologist. That's been his entire argument with Kumo. Kumo is in Fox Mafia, so he's a zoo apologist. You heard him just do it. And yet a little fun fact about the Lion Tubblard himself. He was also in Fox Mafia. He was in Fox Mafia before Kumo was. He was a member longer than Kumo was. Yet apparently that doesn't make him a zoo apologist. But Kumo being in there is what makes Kumo a zoo apologist. What about all the people that Lio still associates with to this day that were also members in Fox Mafia? Are they not zoo apologists? He specifically does this because people are going to react very charged to the accusation of being a zoo apologist. He knows that. It's his way of smearing. But he's got no fucking proof for it. So all he can do is, well, they were in Fox Mafia. But he leaves out the fact that he was in there too, because it's not widely known, making it look like a gotcha when really it's a nothing statement. Now I'm going to move on to the next point that Lio wants to harp Rin on.
Do you know why I brought up your father in my video?
Because you wanted, I don't know, you wanted to use it. You wanted to point out that I didn't want my LGBT plus friends, even though I'm literally trans. Why are you defending that point? Because that's gross.
You didn't actually watch my video, did you?
I did.
Then you would know what you just said right there was not my point. The point I made, Rin, that I know you missed because I saw your YouTube post. I was not saying that your father's values are yours. That's been saved, by the way. My point was your values are incongruous with each other. You cannot, on one hand, worry about your LGBT friends finding out that your father is a dyed-in-the-wool Republican, and then actively enable, support, and hang around people who frankly are more hateful to trans people than your father is. Because as horrible as your father seems to be, unless you're going to correct me right now, I don't recall him actively going out and maliciously dead naming people, or on top of that, using the
I'm
wrong
going to
pronouns to
correct
rile them
you.
up. Go ahead.
I'm going to correct you. He actually
Go ahead.
does. All the
Does he?
freaking time.
Does he do it in front of thousands of people?
Not thousands, but he has. I don't want to disclose family details
I'm not
because
going to ask you to. I'm going to ask you to. That's why I'm keeping it very vague, Rin. You actively allied yourself with people who willfully and gigglingly use dead names and the wrong pronouns. You actively and willfully engage with transphobes whom you say are against your values. How can you not look at these things and realize the incongruity?
Fair enough.
I think there's more to that than a fair enough. Thing is, okay. Did you do some of the art for Akumu?
Yeah, I did.
The art you did, which one was it? What art did you do?
It was like a um
Which videos?
hold on. It's been a bit. Um
Okay, let me make this simpler for you. Has it been in any of Akumu's recent videos, past 3 months?
me like been in it?
Has the art you have done been in any of the recent videos that Akumu has put out in the past few months?
The art piece that he's throwing a tantrum over is this, and I don't think I've used it in any videos. I did recently use it as my profile picture in the stream because he was throwing a fit over it. His entire point here is, well, why would you make art for Akumu? Because he's transphobic, and basically harping over Ren associating with us that's what this comes down to, is Ren associates with us, and because Ren has different political views than I do, and me and Kumo, somehow that must mean friendship is entirely impossible. And really what this comes down to, the main problem, is A, Lio's silly little attempt to moral posture here. And secondly, outside of just the art commentary community, it's a political issue. Is people thinking that disagreement or not participating in someone else's views inherently means that you hate the people that hold those views. For comparison, it would be like someone refusing to believe in Christianity and do any traditions that are a part of Christianity, and then Christians saying, well, that must mean you hate all Christians. It's silly, it makes no fucking sense, and yet it's a logic that is constantly applied to transphobia. It's why the word has pretty much lost any real kick and meaning it's had, is because so many people are just throwing the word willy-nilly about, because of the fact that they can't handle that others aren't participating or telling them what they want to hear. But just wait, because this gets better.
I believe so, yeah.
Would you give your father art to use when you know he's going to spread hateful rhetoric? If you knew who Akumu was.
I would draw art for my dad in regards to D&D, but when it comes to political endeavors, no.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you if you would draw art for your dad knowing he was going to use it while spreading hateful rhetoric. Because you know who Akumu is. You know what he does.
I would not
There's
draw
no way
it.
you don't. Okay, then why did you for Akumu? Why are you willing to associate yourself with one group of transphobes but not another one?
The first thing I'd like to point out is that Rin just said that they'd be willing to draw artwork for their father for like D&D, but not for political endeavors. And secondly, there's a massive difference between me and Rin's father. That difference is that Rin's father has gone out of his way to try and tell Rin what they can and cannot believe, how they can and can't identify, what pronouns that they can have for their preferred pronouns. I, on the other hand, don't believe that gender is an identity, and I don't entertain the notion that it is. I have never tried to tell people what they can and can't believe. I have never tried to tell people that they can't have their preferred pronouns. The only thing I've said is that I won't be participating. Maybe that's why Rin likes me. One is trying to control someone, and the other one is not.
Because he's been there for me since forever.
And your father raised you and has a roof over your head. What's your point?
I care for Akumu too because he's been hurt by the FCK. And he's been there for me for like a long time.
Right over
And
your
a lot
head.
of people vilify
Right.
him.
Right over your head. Just right over it. Somebody being in text chats for you was fine. But if that somehow violates your most basic values, which is don't be a transphobe, then I think your metrics are a little off. Because somehow being there for you in Discord calls somehow rates higher for you than having a roof over your head. And I'm not saying that your dad's not awful. He probably is. I've been around enough groups to know how these parents can be. But do you not see how this is a bit unequal, one would say, in severity?
I guess, yeah.
Yes. So you care a lot for Jordan, huh? Your word, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So when Kumo started making fun of them when my video came out, did you get on to Kumo for it?
Wait, what?
I didn't stutter. You heard me.
Did he make fun of them?
Yep. Matter of fact, they made fun of them pretty regularly in Kumo and in La Server to an extent, one way or another. Jordan knows that. Jordan knows that.
I did not know that.
Then we have the fact that Gilded Pooh actively thinks that as he should kill themselves. And yeah, you came in and said, Pooh or Gilded, let's not say that. You really think that's the type of energy you should have there? Just politely, please don't.
I was trying to be polite, and...
No. Because you wouldn't have that energy if it was one of your friends. Let's be honest here. Here's my problem with you, Ren. You lack any form of consistency. You make special exceptions for certain transphobes, but not ones that pay your bills. You know who these people are. You know their nature. You know they're awful. So why are you their friend? And I genuinely want to know. They care for you.
Because I know their sides.
Oh.
Akumu helped Nil with being trans.
Oh. Interesting.
That doesn't mean what he did was okay. I don't condone a lot of what he does, but you...
And where's your line?
I'm trying to keep my voice down because I don't want to get caught.
Where's your line? Where's your line, Ren? So as long as he's okay with the trans people you know and like, then Akumu's fine? Because he misgenders doodle tones all the time. He takes shots at doodle tones for things that happen. Then why do you enable? Then where is your line, Ren?
He was just about to say, well, then why do you enable it? Yet again. So I'll play with this argument even further. If Ren being my friend or friends with us is inherently enabling us, despite the fact that Ren is open when there's disagreement and publicly disavowed Gilded for what he said to Nezimonster, if what we have done is egregious and horrid as you yourself put it in this call, Lio, what does that say about the FCK? Nezzy Monster, who knew about the fact that minors were being shown porn, who knew about the chat dedicated to Slimer's porn, and only said something because it could become a problem. Just a few days after Ben threatened to expose that, who knew what Toasty was doing was wrong, who called it sexual harassment and compared him to V Omega because V was an adult showing minors porn. Yet in her DMs with Toasty admitted she was looking out for Toasty because she didn't want what happened to V to happen to Toasty. Was that not enabling? Where's your call getting onto her in the gallery? Non-existent. How about the fact you painted Nezzy Monster to be a victim of traumatic harassment because I've documented her lies and went directly to her each time?
Me in to force me to break that, or the consequences would be dire. He called Nezzy, though like Harley not art commentary, the R-slur, and racist. Pete has held a grudge against a child who played into his drama and encouraged me to block them. This was Musikenna. He invalidated the trauma of others, saying they could just block people harassing them while he was openly and publicly talking about Kai and Omnia.
How is that not enabling her? You're misrepresenting what happened to victimize her for what she did. I'd say that's more than just enabling even. But you, Lio, keeping tabs on people who don't like it, that's not traumatic harassment. When you go as far as digging into their personal information and every social media they've ever owned. How about Doodle Tones, who knew about the minors being showed porn, at least one of them, and knew Toasty was being a creep around kids? Susie knew at some point in 2020. The semantics of it being May or October of 2020 don't change that. You're still friends with Susie. Is that not enabling? Aren't these calls to hold people accountable? It's what you tell yourself in regards to Ren and many others. Why is it you love to do these calls to make examples out of others for doing shit less than this, or doing the exact same, but the FCK members haven't had one? Even your call with Fuchsia Butter was private. You want to talk about enabling and what entails enabling, and yet by your own usage of it, you have enabled far worse shit than Ren enabling us saying names and not using preferred fucking pronouns.
You wouldn't do art for your dad. You wouldn't enable him to spread hateful rhetoric with your art, but you will with Akumu.
This is another example of Lio completely ignoring what Rin said to then repeat his point. Rin literally said only moments ago that they would make art for their father in regards to his D&D. But when it came to his political stuff, they wouldn't do so. And then he goes on about my hateful rhetoric, which, again, I would like an answer. In fact, I'd love to have you come on a stream and school me on what my hateful rhetoric is.
You say Akumu's been there for you, but your dad put a rope over your head and raised you.
I love
garbage.
my dad, though. So.
Okay, but you just told me that you wouldn't do it for your dad, but you'll do it for Akumu. And your reason was because Akumu's been there for you. Do you not see the incongruity here? Do you think the people you're associating with during all this are good people? Yes or no?
If Akumu changes his outlook on transphobia, he would be definitely a good person because he tells the truth, you know?
Oh, see?
Not like about trans, but he does not lie. He does not lie.
No, he has lied. Every human being on this planet has lied. And notice what you said there. What was the first word? If. I asked you a yes or no question. And I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you think the people you're associating with during all this are good people? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You think they're good people?
Yes.
So you don't take any...
You're
not going to what?
You're not going to make me budge on that. I'm sorry. I care for them. And
why?
They always have a good part of them, unless they're like
everybody
a
has
pedophile or
Rin. Everyone has a good part of them. That doesn't justify the wrongs they do. You know what these people are like. You know Akumu and Kumo are transphobes. You know Kumo put my wife in videos too. And do not, because I'm tired of hearing this nonsense, say, well, I disagree with that, as though it would have been acceptable to you if it was anybody you like. The truth of the matter, Ren, is these people, whether they realize it or you realize it, know full well it's real easy to get you on their side so long as they're nice to you. And you'll excuse any sort of nonsense so long as people are nice to you. A marker of somebody is not inherently how they treat their friend, because who doesn't treat their friend nice? It's how they treat other people. Because here's the thing, all of this excusing you are giving, all these whataboutisms, you certainly didn't give to me. And you wouldn't either. Your tweets show that. Where was the talk about everybody having a good place when you were sitting there calling me an abuser?
You do have a good side, though, too.
That's not what I asked you. Not what I asked you, Rin. I will not allow you to sit here and pivot like that. You are going to answer me directly. I have been very patient with you. I have not raised my voice at you. I have not yelled at you. You will answer my questions as I ask them. You will not deviate.
I can you re-ask it? Sorry.
You can go on and make all sorts of excuses for people who are nice to you or people you like, regardless of their egregious actions, but you don't for people you don't. Because you had no problem turning a thing that was allegedly, and I quote, for the victims, to being all about me. So where was that talk about me having a good side when you said I am not reliable, dealing with predation cases, that I'm an abuser? Oh, and then we have you who dropped Nil, but somehow Nil magically is able to still message you, telling you that I'm accusing you of something but had nothing to do with you. And you lost your mind on that.
I did not drop Nil?
I was told that you stopped talking to Nil because of their hypersexuality.
No, that's not true.
Well, then you got a lot of explaining to do to Neurofunk as well, because you told them that too.
I didn't. I said Tommy.
You told me and them Nil.
I did not drop Nil. I told Nil to drop Tommy.
Either way, let's assume that's right, that somehow Neurofunk and I have the same information. Where was that concern then? No, instead you just ran with something Nil said, didn't verify, didn't ask questions, just went off on a tirade. Further accusing me of things. Matter of fact, I think your exact words were that you hate me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
what? Because I didn't do dick to you. I was going to accuse you of that, Rin. Why wouldn't I use your most known name? Or do you think you're the only person on God's green earth that has the name Damien?
that was wrong of my assumption on my part.
Oh, trust me, I know. But this is my point. You will give grace to the most horrendous things on the platform so long as they're your friends.
Now, I will be skipping ahead because I'm not going to go over the entire fucking thing. I pretty much did that on stream. This video is more focused on what Lio does in this call, less of what Rin and the Rin and Yun stuff. I don't really have much of an opinion on that.
What's the but here?
I shouldn't have done that.
You're right, you shouldn't. I know you shouldn't. I'm the one saying you shouldn't have. But you are still here, still trying to make excuses for the fact that you would enable people who spread hateful rhetoric because they're your friends. And this is always your trap, always your failure on this end. You overlook horrendous actions by other people so long as they're your friend.
Pot, meat, kettle. Hateful rhetoric, Lio says. What exactly is hateful rhetoric? What do you mean by that? Specify specifically what I've said that's hateful rhetoric. My entire talking point, if this is in regards to transgenderism, is that people do not have to participate. People do not have to have the same beliefs. That's been my entire talking point, that people don't have to have that belief and don't have to participate in their norms and their idea of how you should go about things. I've never said that people can't believe in it. I never said that people can't do that kind of shit. In what way is that hateful? To say that people have the freedom to decide to not have those beliefs, and if they don't want to, they don't want to. You're not entitled to have someone else tell you what you want to hear. There's nothing hateful about that. That applies to everyone. Additionally, someone not participating in your belief or telling you what you want to hear does not mean that they hate you or all of the people in your group that have that belief. What is hateful about saying that either? After another ironic tangent from Lio about how Rin associates with people that don't have the same standards they do, and that Rin's making excuses for them while he's sitting in a call with Doodle Tones, mind you, he then gets to this beautiful analogy that he tries to walk back.
Have you ever thrown anything away, Ren?
People?
No, I said, have you ever thrown anything away?
Yeah, a lot of things.
You ever see trash reject other trash? And I'm not saying that you are trash. My metaphor here is that, of course, they're not going to reject you. They'll take anybody.
This is his metaphor for us not rejecting Ren. Have you ever seen trash reject trash? I'm not calling you trash, though. I'm just saying that they'll accept anybody. Those two brain cells really rubbed together as hard as they could to get this one out.
They take Tommy's House of Blogs. They take whatever weirdo comes in an endless server,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not they've been inappropriate around children or liked watching an 8-year-old character getting cream pied.
Yeah, Tommy's House of Logs is disgusting, and I showed Neuro a screenshot of. Wait, I think it was Neuro who showed. I don't know who showed me. Was it Neuro? Neuro, was it you? Or because I think it was you, and it was from a video from. Okay, yeah, and
not-
that comment about consent. Yeah, that was when I was trying to get Nil the fuck away, because I already expressed to Nil multiple times that Tommy made me uncomfortable because he hangs around Carmen Rider, but
This isn't just about Tommy. It's also about Spar Danger. In fact, I got word from somebody that some of the people that you hang around are mad that you're here at all. Has anybody reached out to you other than that one person to see if you're okay, Ren?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
I'm on my account. I'm on my phone.
How do you not know?
Because I'm on my phone and in the closet. I'm not downstairs where I could switch accounts. I can't
I
check.
see. So they don't know about this account then?
They do. It's just like
And what?
I
Here's
don't
the
know
thing.
what
If
they
some-
said to
if
me.
hold on. I know that if they know you're here, then they know you're here on this account. So go ahead. Minimize the call real quick and see how many messages you have.
Um. Like I can't go downstairs to my laptop. My dad will get.
Ren, listen to me. They know about this account, yes?
Yeah.
They know you are in this call on that account, yes?
Yeah.
So if they wanted to contact you, what account would they be messaging right now?
Here.
The one you're on, right? So you don't need to go downstairs. You don't need to go to your laptop. All you need to do is minimize the call you're in right now and check to see if anybody's messaged you, which is what I've asked you to do.
There's Harriet Tui, which is Frick, Neuro, my best friend who is outside of this, unlisted, Crystal Omega, who messaged me about a potential escape, which I appreciate. I don't know if that's possible right now. Your DMs and then the GC with me and Frick and Neuro and Rabbit.
Okay. You notice how Akumu, Kumo, and none of those other people are there? I understand Rabbit being there. Rabbit's in the call right now. I also understand freaking Neuro being there because they've been your friends. Actual friends. Believe it or not. Because Neuro made it very clear to me they're not going to let you skate around the things you've done. And they haven't. This entire time, they haven't said a word to me. And if they thought I was wrong, I'm sure they would. There have been so many calls. Well, the thing is, Neuro, you still could tag me like you just did there. I have had so many instances with Jordan where Jordan has been in calls they shouldn't have been, and I have been worried for them and constantly messaging them to get out of those calls. And not with somebody they wronged, but with other people who are horrendous. Because I cared about Jordan. These people only care about you in so much as you're around sometimes. At least that's what I think. Now, they may disagree, and they're welcome to. But you need a better caliber of friends, because these friends you have just enable the worst of your behaviors. I think you know that, don't you?
At this point, yeah.
How many of these friends, Akumu, Nil, all these other people, how many of them have tried to get you to therapy? How many of them have tried to pay for your therapy?
Yes. No. Pay for me? No.
Yeah. No.
Nil has been there though. Kumo is.
Yeah. Gotta be blunt. You need to run from Nil. Nil is unstable and just dangerous. Nil sent a message about how much they want to be in a cat slayer call, to the point that where they're hoping we make them so upset that they put a gun in their mouth. Over something we didn't even do.
That's fucked up. Sorry, my phone is blinking because sometimes when I'm on call and it's, yeah, I'm gonna constantly tap on the screen.
I have warned you. I have warned you for years, Rin, for 2 years about the friends you have, and about what they do, and about where they will drag you, and look where you are. You could have avoided this 2 years ago. Why do you think I tell you to not have friends like this? Do you think it's because I don't think you should have friends at all?
At one point, I was very paranoid and I thought you did actually want to isolate, but that was a
Rin,
wrong assumption because
Rin, if I
I
wanted to
have mental
isolate you,
problems.
if I wanted to
Huh?
isolate you, I would have just called your dad. Because you did give me his number. One of the first messages you sent me on text.
Yeah, that was stupid of me.
Yeah, it was also very foolish of you to act like a victim over me talking to your mother. Like I called her out of the blue, which you only corrected once you were backed into a wall and forced to. Which is why I thoroughly believe that you just want to think I'm a monster. Because you lied to Teddy. You lied on the stream. You lied about all this until you found out I had a recording. You know, the really funny thing is, you'll sit there and you'll push the idea that I'm an abuser, but you still think you should have a space in my comment section to talk? And then get really upset when I tell you to beat it. Do you really think you're entitled to that after saying stupid crap about me?
No, you're right.
Then why'd you get uppity with me about it? Where did this entitlement come from?
I was very angry with how snappy you were in conversations.
It didn't involve you. And I gave you multiple times to exit. And I gave you one final ultimatum. If you didn't beat it, I was going to block you on the channel. And then you got upset that I put up a boundary, a consistent problem with you.
Mm-hmm.
Galbanum, Rin, if I was the monster you desperately wanted me to be, why haven't I been worse to you? Why didn't I dox you to your parents? Why didn't I pull them out and let them know what you were doing?
You're not
Heck,
a
why did?
monster.
No, I asked if I am the one you think I am. Like, here's the thing I have noticed about people like you, and I mean people I've tried to help. Every single one of you really like the idea of the minute I don't give you the answer you want, you act like this. And I do mean every single one of you. Jordan did it. You did it. Septi did it. Jay did it. Opal did it. Aaron did it. Lumi did it. Nil did it. I sat there on a stream with people I know are saying god awful things about me. And they're sitting there begging me to call the police to get Nil help while they're trying to eliminate themselves on a live stream. And then after I do, they immediately go back to being scumbags. Every last one of them. I am done helping people like that. I am done helping you. I hope for your sake, this is the last time you and I will speak. If you are smart, in the sense that you have self-preservation, you will do what you said you will do. You certainly haven't before, because I've heard this rigmarole from you. I've heard the I just want to do my art, I don't want to interfere with SCC people. I've heard that from you already for a year, and you didn't. I am tired of people like you abusing my kindness, because that's what you did. I sat there for a year, keeping tabs on you, making sure you were okay, communicating with you, checking in on you, while you were supposed to be touching grass, trying to interact and make real world friends, get therapy and everything else, and you went behind my back each time to get back online in a space you know was wrong. And here's where I'm going to be a little blunt. Neurofunk has made it very clear they want to try to help you. They talked to me about it today, in fact. And you know what I told them, Ren?
What?
I told them that they're going to fail. And I told them it's not because of them. They're not going to fail because they're not equipped or because of a lack of knowledge on their end. They're going to fail because you don't want to change. I don't think you want to get better. I think this is, again, temporary. I think right now you are playing nice and you're pretending to take your lumps while still trying to be obstinate until you finally get back into a corner. I think you're going to turn around and go right back to this the first opportunity you get. And I'm making that very clear to you because I will no longer be helping you. I will no longer be nice about it. None of that. I'm not going to put you in danger. I'm not a monster as much as you desperately want me to be, because God forbid I hold you accountable. God forbid I try to get you the actual help you need. God forbid I tell you your friends aren't as good as you want to think they are, that maybe you shouldn't be friends with transphobes and hateful people. My God. Trying to be professional with some weirdo who makes rape comments to women, you know better. We both do. Please. And here's it again, because I keep coming back to things because I didn't make a list. And if I had, it would have been inaccessible anyways, because I'm not at home because my power was out last night yet. You didn't have the temerity to sit there and tell me that you do care about these things, and that the reason why you released that Google Doc is because it's your story to tell. I do not disagree with the idea that you should be able to talk about your hurt, your pain, how you were abused. I wanted everybody to be able to do it. You may have killed that chance for other people. Because you figured, well, if Lio is an abuser and I can paint him as one, I don't have to do what he says. It doesn't matter his rationale or reason. It doesn't matter that my actions will hurt other people who are also victims of it. For record, to a much higher degree by the sheer number of things that have been drawn about them. Like the fact that these creeps commission things of me and my family, Rin. I told you, wait. And the reason I told you wait was because I was hoping the other people would have the chance to file reports, Rin. And you may have blown that for them. Telling your truth, telling your story is 100% valid. But sometimes you have to think bigger picture. I didn't even want to initially deal with the false accusations of abuse towards me because I knew if I did, any chance those people had of having a normal online life would be shot because I would have to expose them as liars. I would have to expose them as manipulators and grifters. I didn't want to. It's despite people trying to twist my words in that Senate call, when I said now I'm going to have to embarrass them, it's because I didn't want to, Rin. You think I liked doing it? You think I like knowing the fact that these people I took care of, that I had in my home, that I got away from awful situations, were trying to paint me as an abuser and letting other people run with that idea, even up to calling me a groomer? You think I liked that? I hope you're never in the position I've been in. And for the record, yes, I am telling June they need to make that video because I don't think you're going to stop. I have no faith that you will. I wish Neurofunk the best, and I'll repeat it again. I don't think they're going to fail because of them. I think they're going to fail because of you. Now, I've not raised my voice. I have not yelled at you. I've taken a stern tone, got a little gravelly. But if I continue to see you in these spaces, there will be consequences.
There will be no threats, is what Lio said 3 days before this call.
If I continue to see you weaponizing against other people, if I continue to see you interacting with people you claim are against your values, you and I are going to have a much bigger problem on a much larger scale.
What I find interesting here is that he's doing his Batman voice, trying to be intimidating and threatening Rin. This is obviously a threat, saying that if you continue to do things I don't want you to do, there's going to be bigger problems. There's no fucking doubt that's a threat. But what I find really funny about this is that he's willing to do this with Rin, but he wasn't willing to do it with me. And his reasoning for this, as other people have pointed out in his server, The Cat's Lair, is that he had wronged me, and Rin had wronged him. So that's why he did the Batman voice and the intimidation and threats with Rin, but he didn't do it with me. And yet, as we learn from this call in and of itself, he clearly views me as worse than Rin. He says that I'm a horrendous thing, that I'm trash, that I've done egregious, horrible things. He very clearly views me as such, and even goes as far as walking back his analogy to say that Rin isn't trash. And yet, he didn't do the Batman impression with me. He didn't do any threats with me. Instead, he got antsy in his chair, got quiet, and said that he didn't want to talk about something. And when I started pressing him about it, and then he just took it. He just took it. You know, I called him a white knight. When I pressed him on the fact that he somehow didn't realize for a year that someone was suicide baiting, right? All that stuff. He just took it. And I think, here's my hypothesis, folks. I think he didn't do it with me because he probably seen my video laughing about him doing it with Jax, so he knew that I was just going to laugh if he did it on stream.
And this is completely divorced from you. If you two have settled that, good. I'm glad and I'm proud of both of you for it. But if you ever wind up pulling these stunts again and trying to go after the people I care about needlessly, because let's not play games here. The way you've conducted yourself has been asinine and has certainly not been in the benefit of victims. It's been in the benefit of you. If I catch that again, we're going to... What?
I disagree, but you're allowed to have your opinion.
Oh, so what you said earlier about how you used the platform to go at people you were angry at wasn't true? They had to make an entire separate account because of you. Because of you. Because you couldn't manage it. Or did you forget that?
I didn't.
So tell me, if you did so good, why would they need to make a secondary account, Ren?
I apologize, and I understand the criticism.
I'm not saying that you don't care about people being preyed on. I'm not dumb. I know your history. I know you do. My point is, you did not actually care about this specific thing. You saw an opportunity to attack people you didn't like, as evidenced by the actions and by the reactions. Because I'm not going to tell you who, but we actually did have a call with one of the victims. And they made it very clear the other victims were not happy with you and how you conducted that entire charade. Weren't happy with Akumu either. Or Kumo. They wish people with more sense had covered this. Because step one of covering stuff like this, Ren, is contacting the people affected. That wasn't done.
The victims weren't contacted. Wait.
Crystal, did any of that play out to you like they were?
I assumed they were reached out to. I thought that...
Go ahead, Ren. Tell Crystal.
Wait, what?
I didn't, because I was afraid that the evidence would be covered up, but at the same time, that was a huge mistake, and I get it.
You did? Hold on. You thought the evidence would be covered up if you spoke to the victims?
Yeah, because last time when I tried to go after Toasty, one of the victims was going against the video and stuff like that.
Chris, I'm going to hand this portion over to you. You're more qualified to handle this.
I was
Yeah.
under the preconception that the victims were reached out to.
Yeah, so as someone who is also in the call that Lio is referring to, yeah, apparently, according to the victim that we had spoken to, yeah, Akumu and Rin here just kind of took the stories and ran with them themselves. Which is why I was under the notion for such a long time that neither did care. Now, I don't know Rin's Rin's history like Lio does, but that's why I was going around saying that neither cared about the victims.
Who they're referring to is Teddy the Draws. And I don't know if Doodletones is telling the truth here, and Teddy's the one that lied, or Doodletones is lying about what Teddy said. They can figure out and do the blame game and point the fingers at each other and figure that all out. Point is, this is a lie. For starters, it doesn't make any fucking sense. I took the story and ran with it. What does that even fucking mean? I've been open about the fact that I planned on doing a retrospective series on the group. Back in 2020, I tried to get Teddy the Draws to come out about the FCK because she was telling me about what she was dealing with, the fact that they were downplaying it and making it seem like she was crazy. I tried to get Teddy to come out about the FCK in 2020, and in 2023, I tried to get her to do so then. But she didn't want to. She wanted to side with Nezzy Monster and Doodletones. And then when I started listing off my experience at the FCK, and just some of the things that they were doing in the server, in regards to me, she leaves the group chat. And that's all fine and well, but this idea that I just took it and ran with it is completely false. Slamers was the one who invited me to the FCK server. I've been extremely public and open about that fact.
But I'm not going to pull the stunts you have. This is why I say you don't care, Ren. Did Akumu ask any of the victims before making that video? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Yeah, figure.
Lio just asked Rin a question he already has the answer to. Both Lio and Rin are aware of the fact that I got the FCK server from Slamers. I've mentioned it many times in I don't know how many fucking different videos, and even have given testimony from Slamers showing that she and I have spoken. Lio should know that I spoke with Teddy, the victim they try and conceal in this call. Not only did I try to get Teddy to talk about her experience with the FCK in 2020, but again, I tried to get her to do so in 2023. right before the Senate call with me and Nezzy Monster. She didn't want to because Nezzy Monster conveniently reached out a few days before with an apology, and then Doodle Tones and Nezzy Monster had a call with Teddy. I've also spoken with Jamesy about the FCK since the end of 2020. Throughout the last 4 years, I've asked Jamesy questions, and originally my series was going to be just his testimony and censoring his name. That's what he requested because he knew just how fucking petty this community is. Now, I did ask Ren why they told Lio no, to which I was told they forgot from all the pressure, and while I'm still not happy about it, because I know for a fact that they intend on using Ren's confession here against me. The reason Lio is asking a question he has the answer to is because he's trying to make an example out of Ren, especially to come at me. He's already set up this ridiculous moral trap, and by Ren saying no to the question in front of his peanuts, he and Doodletones can spread the narrative that I never spoke to a single one of them. Diaper shitter going, yeah, I figured. What do you mean, Susie? You said you watched my FCK server video in your video. You watched my TISM reports and put clips of them in your video where that piece of information is also mentioned. So you're also aware of the fact that I've spoken to some of them. You should be correcting Lio, not agreeing. I thought your friends hold you accountable, Lio, but me calling Doodletones dishonest is just confirmation bias. It's my narrative. What Lio did was lure Ren into this call under a false pretense to try and make an example of them. The bait on the hook was that it was just going to be about Yun and Ren, that there wouldn't be any threats. Yet not only did he drag it out feeling the need to insert himself, not only did he threaten Ren, but then he's bitching because Ren associates with me and Kumo, because of my hateful rhetoric, because I've done egregious things, and I'm horrendous. The most egregious and horrendous thing I've done that Lio was referring to is over names and pronouns. First world fucking problems of, oh, you're not referring to me the way I want. That's egregious and horrendous, and I'm terrible for that. I'm a scumbag. I'm trash. This is coming from the guy who couldn't intimidate a 15-year-old, threatened to go to his house and ruin his life, got his personal information with the admitted intention of giving him a scare. The same guy who told everyone he drew the line at lying, and lied about me only seconds later. It's nothing but moral posturing and not even an ounce of self-awareness. When you yourself have done far worse shit and are older than me, but you want to pretend like pronouns and names is such a horrid action. And the only reason he ever came to think the jack shit was fucked was because his newfound audience did, when they found out about it. Because he got shit for it. The same for the Rosa call. It's why he said in this call with Ren that if it weren't for others, his chain and ball of accountability holding him back, that he would be far harsher, implying that it's only because of the optics of others that he's being so relaxed with Ren. But he's changed, guys. Here's an idea. You have to rely on other people to constantly get onto you for being a retarded man-child on the internet. Maybe you should reevaluate why that is. You're 38 years old with poor impulse control, you have this delusional self-image, you only ever try to intimidate people who are younger than you and are easily intimidated, and if they aren't intimidated or afraid of you, you opt to try and punish them. The same fucking community that called me Light Yagami or Light Yagami Kenny for LARPing as a crusader of internet justice to punish the wicked are currently backing the exact same fucking thing. I guess because he relies upon 80s cartoon morality, entertains the progressive politics, and does a Batman impression, it's totally different. Now, Lio and co. deny being deceiving or leading Ren on under false pretenses. When we spoke about this, he said, sure, I do know enough to know that Ren and others were convinced the call was a setup because of my genuine miscommunication, which really sucks, not gonna lie. I wasn't happy with Ren, and I have a right to have my words with them. But if they weren't properly prepared for it like I thought they were, I wish they would have spoke up about it. If I ran into a situation like that again, I'll have to further ensure the person knows we can reschedule. I said, what specifically are you referring to as miscommunication? You made it rather clear there would be no threats, and that it was being done for Yun and Ren in the messages. He says, yeah, in their convo with Yun. From what I've seen from past DMs / communicating with Ren's friends, Ren's disconnect was not knowing I was going to be speaking to them in the call. Is that inaccurate? Actually, text for this is going to suck. We'll reconnect about this once the house has power again. That work. I said, sure, though if you have an example of you stating you'll be talking in the call, that should clear that part right up. I said, I know there were 2 examples in the call itself, but we'll go over that in time. I said, all good. The call itself, though, doesn't work because that's the call. Bringing it up on the day of the call isn't the same as establishing it for it to be agreed upon. For example, me changing the time was something I sprung upon you. I couldn't use me changing the time of the stream to say we agreed to that time from the beginning of setting it up. And this is in reference to the stream that I had with me and Lio talking. He says, I could have sworn it was mentioned in the DM's past. I'll have to relook. I had a similar issue of responding to Neurofunk thinking I communicated something when they didn't pick up on it themselves. I said if it's there, I'll gladly make that correction. He said the last thing I'll say on this specifically, though, is two things. One, if they genuinely thought it was out of nowhere, I really wish they would have told me. I would have happily rescheduled. Two, I forgot second, I'm tired, but there was no intention to deceive. That much I can tell you. And then he asked about Toasty Vanilla. So again, he denies being deceptive with it, as do people in his circle. The thing that they're banking on is that Lio himself said early on in the call that he would be talking with Rin later, and Rin didn't object. So therefore, Rin must have known it was happening. Which is really fucking silly. They know that Rin is squeamish, easily intimidated, and has a hard time speaking up. They know that. They've known that for quite some time. So while Lio denies being deceiving, I think it's very obvious that he never ever at one point stated that he was going to be in the call until the day of the call. He sprung it up on the day of the call, which is not the same thing as having that established beforehand so that Ren can have that conversation. He knew that Ren didn't really want to speak with him. Is it a big shock, a big wonder as to why Ren wouldn't want to? The entire time you're trying to be intimidating, you're doing a Batman voice, you're doing threats, you're not listening to a fucking thing that they have to say, and instead ignoring what they have to say because it's inconvenient, so you can then reiterate and try and change how these events played out. Or so you can make your point despite the fact that what they've said completely dismantles the point you're trying to make, so you ignore it so you can just keep trying to make that point.